The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRCMedia, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
This week on FRCmedia News, Fall River's crime statistics for 2023 have been released. Is the city a safe place to live? The city hosts a public meeting on how best to spend funds to combat addiction, and the Greater Fall River Art Association will showcase the work of students in its youth and adult classes. All this and more coming up. It's Thursday, May 2nd, 2024. This is FRCmedia News. I'm Keith Tebow. The Fall River Police Department has released its annual report that includes crime statistics for 2023. The numbers show overall crime in the city was down 23% compared to 2022 and just below 15% since 2018. Police Chief Paul Gauvin said that although encouraging, he knows that crime statistics today may not translate into a long-term trend.
As much as, we sometimes like to play on the stats and the numbers, really, we have crime. We're the 10th largest city in Massachusetts. That's who we are. There's always going to be fluctuations. Luckily this year, we had some statistical troughs. I think robbery was probably down, the lowest that it's been down in decades. We've had some other areas where there were low numbers. So there's some things that are positive, but it's always hard to say, especially when it comes to crime, hey, that things are great, because you're just living for another moment now where someone's going to challenge you and going into safety. But the numbers, as far as stats and the numbers are positive this year.
Confirmed cases of gunshots fired were up in 2023 over the year prior and were targeted incidents. Illegal firearms arrests were up. The chief said that there are a large number of city residents who can legally handle firearms than in years past, and last year's increase is on par with numbers since the mid-2000s.
Any number of shots fired, any numbers of murder are serious to us. We take all of them serious, and it's always a problem for me. I never take any of it lightly. Even last year, I believe we had probably one of the lowest numbers of shots fired, like in almost 2 decades. I think it was like the second lowest. I think we had 30 shots fired in 22. Now we have an uptick, but the issue here is when you look at the uptick, what does it tell you about Fall River? And when I look at numbers, I say, okay, where were we? When we go back to 2006, when we first started tracking shots fired numbers, it's an uptick from last year. But overall, when you look at the big picture from 2006 on, it's really not that much of a change. It's really more of a statistical anomaly or a bouncing in that particular silo. But it is who we are. We're going to have these years where we're going to have these numbers.
Incidents of burglary, robbery, larcenies, and motor vehicle theft were down across the board compared to 2022, as were incidents of aggravated and sexual assaults. The chief is proud of the significant decrease over the last 5 years in the number of drug overdoses and overdose deaths.
I have nothing but accolades for our team dealing with overdose issues, but also I think it's also part of this is the strategies that have been out there where we've introduced Narcan throughout the community. And I think that has a large part, because it's been almost 2 or 3 years now where we've really been putting Narcan out into the community beyond just in the police cars or in the fire department. And so I think that's having some effect. But our collaboration with the FAST team, with City Hall, dealing with the opioid abuse issue and homelessness as well, so they're kind of multi-layered issues as well. So, we're doing really well. The numbers, I know you said significantly, quite significantly, the number of deaths have really gone down, and I think it's fantastic that, the work is really kind of showing.
Overall arrests in 2023 were up 17% from 2022, and the chief attributes that increase to the dedication of officers in following up on leads and taking action against alleged illegal activity. The department is still down 17 officers from being fully staffed. The chief says the department remains competitive in recruiting new officers, while the number of retirees leaving the force has decreased. Retaining officers remains a concern.
There seems to be a trend in policing. I hope it doesn't continue, where people are leaving a little bit earlier. So that may hinder us a little bit. I don't see that being as a major factor. The only other piece I see generationally with our new police officers, as you can see, it's not just policing, it's everywhere. It's difficult to get help. But I see a trend in policing, and it happened down south, and I saw it for the last couple of years down south. It's certainly coming up this way, and I'm sure you've seen it with billboards from other police departments looking to poach other police officers from other departments by offering them $10,000. And the difficulty here for our officers is, our guys do a lot of work. The Fall River police officers are just unbelievable in the amount of work that they take on. Some of them are looking at their paychecks and looking at other communities whose officers may not have as many challenges and may not work as much, may not deal with as many issues, and maybe making a comparison. So we are, having that difficulty in trying to retain people.
The chief says the perception as to whether Fall River is a safe city is driven by how people receive their news. Now, much of it is from social media.
But now it's 24/7. People are seeing videos of things that they probably wouldn't have been exposed to in the past. And it's conjecture as well. So some of these things are, I think, heightening fear. I saw one the other day that was, what's happening on X Street? And then this just set off a list of people saying, oh my God, not this again. And then when I got to work, I found out there was a car accident or something minor that was going on. But so I see how social media is really playing into anxiety for people.
You can read the complete Police Department annual report on our website, FRCMedia.org. An advisory committee tasked with how to spend millions of dollars in opioid settlement money got to hear from members of the community this week and how best to do so to combat addiction across Fall River. Fall River is slated to receive close to $8 million over 15 years as part of a nationwide settlement against the makers and distributors of prescription opioids. Massachusetts is receiving $900 million total, 40% of which is being distributed to cities and towns. Those in attendance at the meeting were concerned citizens or those who work in the care of those battling addiction. City resident Al Arujo has been in recovery for 40 years and has been completely clean for 17. He said Fall River should be receiving more than $8 million based on the high rate of addiction within the city. He hopes that services to those who are seeking treatment can be expanded.
There is a definite lack of a shelter which would accommodate people who are at the very beginning stages of recovery. And those stages are usually, fraught with all kinds of difficulties. People relapse constantly at that stage. There has to be, I would like to see, some kind of accommodation for people who are still relapsing, people who are having, a host of tangential issues right in their lives, a place where they could go, all day, into the night, wraparound services. I do like what the previous speakers talked about, but something that, would actually accommodate a lot of the social needs that we see on our streets every day. My estimate was like, 3 to 5 million probably to do something like that, comprehensively.
Stephanie Perry is an addiction outreach nurse for South Coast Health. She's interested in broadening the discussion within the community to identify areas of needs before any money is spent.
We really need to identify where the gaps are before we can make an effective change. And this committee, thank you all so much for being part of it, but you haven't had conversations with us, right? Pyre interviewed 17 of us, but you guys haven't heard from us. And that conversation was had with Pyre over almost a year ago, because it was, I think, in the spring of 2023. So things have changed. We have xylazine on the scene now. That wasn't even a thing. We have programs that have come and gone or are being rebuilt. So my ask is for the committee to allow us to have a more meaningful discussion with you guys so you can see where we're at, so we can move forward together. And the other one, and the most important, is really how can we bring this community together as more of a coalition of sorts that operates as one unit with harm reduction. We have all these services. We all work very well together, but we're not hitting all the gaps, and we don't know what those gaps are until you get everybody in the room and we really are able to identify, I can do this, but then I hit this point, but you can do that, and then you hit that point. Well, how do we mesh those two together so that we have a long-standing, effective change?
The advisory committee has released a request for proposals for organizations to devise expanded or new programs that will fit the criteria of receiving the opioid settlement funds. The deadline to apply is June 16th. Local, regional, and state union leaders joined employees at St. Anne's Hospital last week at a rally in support of saving the community hospital as its owner, Stewart Healthcare, faces financial struggles. Earlier this year, Stewart alerted state and local officials of its liabilities in Massachusetts as it faces $50 million in debts for rent owned at 9 facilities across eastern Massachusetts, including St. Anne's. The company says it does not rule out the possibility of filing for bankruptcy. At the rally held at Kennedy Park, speakers reinforced the importance of a community hospital like St. Anne's, providing vital services within a fractured healthcare system. They're calling for Stewart to save the hospitals or sell it to an organization that will. Mayor Paul Gauvin said he's in touch with state and federal officials to ensure St. Anne's remains open.
I can tell you one thing that's very important to the city of Fall River, and that is in no way, shape, or form should St. Anne's close or be reduced in any capacity. This is a key component to the public health in the city of Fall River and the surrounding towns, and it's played a role like that for almost 100 years, and I hope it lasts 100 more, and I guarantee you I will do everything in my power as the mayor of the city of Fall River to help keep this hospital open.
Sabina Davis has received care from St. Anne's and other community hospitals as she struggles with asthma. As a member of the Coalition for Social Justice, she understands how vital community hospitals are to urban regions like Fall River.
Community hospitals have been my refuge through this lifelong journey. They stand sentinels in our neighborhoods, providing more than just health care. They deliver peace of mind. Peace of mind that comes from knowing that in a grip of an asthma flare-up, help is just moments away. Community hospitals help bridge the chasm. They often serve the underrepresented and the underserved, providing care that might otherwise be inaccessible. For the uninsured and the underinsured, for those trips are to different hospitals, both time-consuming and costly. Community hospitals don't just treat illness, they affirm dignity.
Jason Burns, president of the International Association of Firefighters, Local 1314, that serves city firefighters, said along with decreasing capacity at local hospitals, closing St. Anne's will put added stress on local public safety officers.
In my career as a firefighter, we often are in position to transport patients right over here to St. Anne's. And if St. Anne's isn't here, we're already at a max capacity on beds and room that we can handle. If you get rid of this hospital, you know, you've heard the conversations. People that talk about waits in emergency rooms and didn't have a bed. And I'm telling you, not only is that a patient issue, right? Whether someone's got a heart attack or someone is dealing with other medical issues, I'm going to tell you the impact on your local fire department. We will end up stuck with firefighters who are driving ambulances, waiting in line to drop off a patient to nowhere because we don't have beds available. And we're at max capacity right now. So the idea that we're even discussing a potential reduction of services is beyond comprehension to me. We need more services, we need more beds, we need more availability to stand by our...
St. Anne's employees at the rally expressed how the hospital's close-knit community is an asset that should not be abandoned.
During my onboarding process, one of the ER leaders came to talk to us about his time here and how for the last 20 years it felt like a family and how he felt so integrated into the community. I didn't understand it at first, but over the years at St. Anne's, I have felt myself becoming more part of this community. Every Tuesday you see the farmers market, and every weekend you see the folks at the church receiving their food assistance. And driving to work, I've seen the baseball games every weekend. And then you come here and you smell the sea air. So you definitely start to become part of this community.
It's important to us. It goes so much more than just, keeping the doors open and stuff. It's a family, it's a community, it's the city, it's Tiverton, it's Little Compton, it's Somerset, it's a lot of communities involved and a lot of families involved, personal families, coworker families, and it's just important to us. We would just like the transparency to be there for us, to know what the plan is, what's going to happen.
The city of Fall River late last week paid tribute to veterans of the Gulf War and Operations Desert Storm and Desert Shield. The ceremony was held at Turner Park on Danforth Street and commemorated the lives of Fireman Charles Tavares, killed in Vietnam in 1969, and Sergeant First Class Russell Smith, killed in the Gulf War. Keynote speaker Master Sergeant Theodore Banks served in both Vietnam and the Gulf War. He fondly remembers his time serving his country and the importance of honoring those who never came home.
Every year, I get together with friends of mine that I served with in Vietnam and the Gulf. We share stories about our service and remember our comrades, arms who didn't make it home. Year after year, I also joined my brother veterans from Fall River at ceremonies honoring veterans lost in war. Today, it is my honor and privilege to join them in remembering Charles Tavares, Russell Smith. And at every event attended, when I see families, ordinary citizens, and public officials at ceremonies such as this, I thank God. Because not only living veterans who remember veterans who made the ultimate sacrifice, but it's you, our Fall River, who keep their memories alive.
As the city prepares for the outdoor event season, the Waterfront Cultural District is seeking volunteers to help at a cleanup of the district taking place this weekend.
This is part of the Hortensia, the hydrangea program, and we are using some funds to plant hydrangeas up at DCR, and we're going to continue the project that we have up off of the Route 79 or the 138 connector is it. So anyone that wants to volunteer Saturday from 9 o'clock to 2 o'clock, we're going to be setting up and registering at the Maritime Museum right on Water Street, and we're going to be picking up litter, we're going to be raking, we're going to be planting, possible some mulching, but a whole beautification and cleanup of as much of the Waterfront Cultural District as we can. We'll be providing water and refreshments for the volunteers. So we're looking for people to just come out. I mean, obviously everyone's interested in the waterfront. This is the day to come and show and get engaged in the waterfront to clean it up. Get it ready for the season, really. Get it ready for the summer season with the visitors coming.
As plans move forward on the reconstruction of Route 79, it's important for the district to put its best face forward as the future economic development opportunities within the area become a reality.
The intent here is it's an economic stimulant. It provides a lot of economic benefit. It also provides a lot of cultural benefit, and also it's going to help enhance tourism. So the cultural district makes a big difference. It was a 5-year process for Creative Arts Network to get that approved. So the state doesn't give them away. It does, as Sandra said, it extends from all the way from Columbia Street all the way down to the Veterans Park. So it's a significant area. Businesses can benefit. Like I said, there's some economic benefit for businesses. I think people are going to notice that over the next 5 to 10 years there's going to be a significant change on the waterfront, and partly due to the fact that we do have a cultural district down here.
We'll have more FRC Media News right after this.
Here are some job descriptions on the latest hot jobs list from the Mass Hire Fall River Career Center. Prior Authorization Coordinator. Primacare, located at 277 Pleasant Street, is seeking a full-time prior authorization coordinator to request, track, and obtain prior authorizations from insurance companies. Job number 207-63347. Bilingual Food Safety Instructor. Blount Fine Foods, located at 630 Current Road, is looking for a full-time bilingual food safety instructor, responsible for the implementation of initial and ongoing development of new and current staff. Job number 207-62741. Board Certified Behavior Analyst. Bay Coast Behavioral, located at 170 Pleasant Street, seeks a full-time Board Certified Behavior Analyst to provide an array of behaviorally based treatment and mental health services to children, families, and adults. Job number 207-64406. Medical Biller and Coder. River to Recovery, located at 1507 Pleasant Street, is looking for a part-time medical biller and coder. For more information, call 774-704-5501. Citizens for Citizens Head Start, located at 427 Robeson Street, has an immediate need for the following full and part-time positions. Early Head Start Teacher. Job number 207-60400. Group Leader Child Care Worker. Job number 207-60402. For more information about these or other positions, visit Mass Hire JobQuest at jobquest.dcs.ol.mass.gov or call the Mass Hire Fall River Career Center at 508-730-5000.
My name is David Perry. I'm the president of the Greater Fall River Food Pantry. And what we do here is we provide food to clients that are in need. We're always trying to get more people involved in what we're doing. And we're trying to concentrate on youth, and it's all about helping people, and that's what we should all be doing, is helping someone. So it's a great opportunity for them to, come down here and give us a couple of hours a week. It's not long, it's 2 hours a day, and once they start volunteering, it's like a family, it really is. So getting these younger people involved, it's just great. It's great to see, it's great to have younger generations seeing what's going on in the real world, as we call it, and helping out.
I've gotten a new outlook on the community. I've been able to see all sides, helped me learn just a lot about Fall River as a whole.
We like to get students in from 14 years of age and older. It's not about the Greater Fall River Community Food Pantry. It's about what the Greater Fall River Community Food Pantry does as an outreach. We want to reach out to the community. Most schools require that the students put in volunteer hours. We're a perfect example of receiving those students, and that way they get their hours accredited, and it gives them a good learning experience.
Volunteering here made you feel good, felt like you were helping out the community, and also it really helped me out with making my application stand out with having volunteer hours on them. Like when I'm applying for jobs, I've been on the hunt right now, and I've done a lot more interviews since I did charity work here. Makes you really stand out, and also just feels good helping out the community.
I love hearing other people's lives, how other people live, other people's families. It's interesting, and I really like to do this work.
Come down and see what it's like. Come down and take an opportunity to help someone else. Come and see what's really happening in the world out there.
Welcome back. The Greater Fall River Art Association is launching its latest art show this weekend and will feature the work of students in its youth and adult art classes. Association President Dana Barnes says the student show features work from youth ages 6 to 12.
We have focused a lot on outside influences, and one of the outside influences for a majority of this show happened to be Mr. Dave Mello, who had his gallery show here. Our students were very fascinated with his mask making, and they wanted to be able to do those things. So we've taken masks, and each one of these kids has created something meaningful to them, and they're all on display. We started out with a process to design that mask, and then they actually took a mask and put that design on on that mask. Lots of kids love to draw, so we've expanded on their drawing talents and offered to add color. Lots of kids love to do things in pencil, so we've been expanding that. They're getting into charcoal, oil pastels, some regular acrylic pastels. They're working with new mediums and finding ways to do their art that's personal to them, and going forward, we're trying to encourage that personal touch in your art.
The adult show spotlights 4 students in the association's introductory oil painting class. Ms. Barnes says adult art beginners often lack the confidence to show off their creativity.
Teaching adults is different than teaching children. Adults, they're not as free, they don't feel as free to express themselves. They're sort of that, oh, I don't want to do that. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. And just do that. Just do it. Put the oil on the canvas. The worst thing that's going to happen is you're going to have to take it off. Turpentine is a wonderful savior for those working in oils. If you work in watercolor, lots more water, that's a perfect thing. White comes out wonderful. And if you draw, your best friend is your eraser. So there's nothing that can't be fixed, and there's no right or wrong way to do art.
Classes will begin again later on this fall. Ms. Barnes remains encouraged by the youth in the program to foster the growth within the fine arts.
We use lots of books and lots of visual imagery, and they get to go forth and create something wonderful. There is absolute hope. These guys are the hope of all of this. These are my great joy to just watch these kids and their process. And I think as a creative person and as a person who has spent many years in accounting and business, that marriage of creative thinking has to come from arts and literature and music and all of that in order to make you a more rounded person. And these guys here, I am so hopeful. And we look forward to continuing to showcase these young people and to help them grow, however it is that they want to grow, whatever makes their heart sing.
The Student Art Show kicks off Saturday and will run on Saturdays and Sundays until May 25th at the Greater Fall River Art Association location at 80 Belmont Street. We'll wrap up this edition of FRC Media News after this.
Welcome to Hot Dogs and Cool Cats. Today we have Rogue. This is a 10-month-old female domestic shorthair. She's a very affectionate and sweet girl, super personable. Whenever we're cleaning the room, she's usually climbing all over us, climbing on our shoulders. Very sweet, very gentle. The only time we've seen her claws come out is when she's making biscuits. She was a surrender, an owner surrender. They've lived out of their car, couldn't really keep up with her anymore, so she ended up here. Super playful. As a typical kitten, she loves to play. She loves, fake mice, little balls, anything that's dangly, like a rope, shoelace even. Very easy to please. She shouldn't require much grooming when she does grow her hair back. As a short hair, she should be super simple. Kittens do tend to get very dirty though, as they love to play, and love to play in their litter specifically. So I would keep an eye on her coat, brush her out as you need to, wipe her down maybe if she gets a little dirty, but she should handle it herself for the most part. So if you want to come down and meet Rogue, come down to 300 Linwood Street in Fall River, Massachusetts, and make an appointment to meet Rogue today.
This here is Riley. Riley here is a Maltese mix. She is 10 years young. She is a little Spitfire with plenty of energy who loves to run around and loves to just be your best buddy and hang out with you and that kind of thing. I know we are saying no other dogs and no cats for her. Just because she, like I said, she's very particular in what she likes. But she is such a sweet girl, and when she gets what she wants, she's such a pretty princess. If you're interested in Riley, please fill out an application. We would love to hear from you. Our applications are on foreverpaws.com. Once you fill one out, once you get all approved, you can come on down and see her. We are appointment only, so if you can please make an appointment to come see Miss Riley.
That's all for this edition of FRC Media News. Please visit our website at frmedia.org for all the latest news and local information. FRC Media News airs Thursdays at 6 p.m. and Fridays at 5:30 p.m. For all of us here at FRC Media News, I'm Keith Tebow. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next Thursday.